are we? The sons of the living God. Who are we? The sons of the living God.
All right, man. I wanna say, man, YASHARAHLA, you know, peace and blessings to all the true nation of Israel, the Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans of our movement, you know, in our ministries to go out, wake up the people, let them know who they are, and to bring them back into their true nationality, which is, you know, the biblical nationality of the Israelites, God's chosen people. The apple of his eye, what Sarge touched on, you know, his beloved people near and dear unto him. And it's funny because I got the officer Yasser on the site. He's not on the camera. But I'm just listening, and you know, naturally, just off of this day, we know the things that our people are doing out there right now. You know, it's 10:30 here in San Diego, so either they're getting ready or they're already ready to go out, celebrate this wicked, God-forsaken holiday.
Is it 3 hours ahead on the east?
Well, yeah, on the East Coast, it's already that time. So that's what I'm saying. You know, here, like I said, you know, I could probably call some people up right now, and they be like, oh, I'm getting ready. If I was to call them up like I'm trying to go, they're like, oh, well, I'm getting ready right now. You know, they got to be there before 12. So naturally, we know what our people are going to be out here doing. And when these brothers speak on it, it's just a few people that come to my mind, you know, that talk a good game about Black revolution, right? This is why we call this New Year's revolution, all right? Because if you was really about this revolution, it would be a non-stop 360-degree level of work, you know, all year round, not just part-time, not just sometime, not when somebody gets shot, not when somebody gets stabbed, not when somebody gets wrongfully attacked or arrested by the police, you know, not when a white man runs into a church and, you know, yells nigger and shoots the church up. You know, this thing is, as the scriptures say, in season and out of season. Matter of fact, can somebody get that for me? You know, I have some scripture prepared, but I already know it's a few that I'm gonna have to go on and bring out that I don't have down. Right?
It's book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 2.
Go ahead.
Preach the word.
It says, preach the word. Now, the people that come to mind, they don't get down with the scriptures. So what I try to do is I try to be balanced. You know, I'm Captain Tazamah from the sector SICARRI. I'm down with these scriptures, you know, through and through. So, you know, my perspective. But again, let's just say, all right, what are you doing? Let's compare the two. Let's do a comparative study. You know, do a side-by-side comparison on what it is that you're doing versus what we're doing. All right. And let's see which one is more revolutionary and what's more beneficial for our people. Just being fair. So it says, preach the word, right? So with them, it's, all right. What? Go ahead.
Be instant.
Be instant. Go ahead. Season.
Out of season.
And out of season. Go ahead.
Reprove.
Reprove.
Rebuke.
Rebuke.
Exhort.
Exhort.
With all long suffering.
So it says to reprove and rebuke. That's dealing with correction. It's to exhort. What does it mean to exhort? Is when you're dealing with brotherly love, you're dealing with the power of persuasion to be able to take somebody mentality and way of life and bring them into a better one that's more revolutionary and beneficial for your people. Right? That's dealing with to exhort. Go ahead. What was after exhort? Go ahead.
With all long suffering.
With all long suffering, because you got to be long suffering with our people. And this is why I try to be fair. This is why I try to be as fair as possible. And I try my best to, as the scriptures say, and to not get too emotional and angry when my people will refuse to liberate and to refuse to separate themselves from this goddamn devil, the white man, of their own. I try my best to be long suffering. And I don't see our people being long suffering. Either they you know, suffer short and get angry and just call it quits, you know, or they find themselves, you know, participating in the wickedness, and then you just on some hypocritical stuff. Go ahead. With long suffering and what else?
And doctrine.
And doctrine. And then if you're not coming out of the scriptures, what hey Chief, what did SETI say ma'at means? Change. Ma'at means change. Get that Proverbs, I believe it's 20 and 24. Ma'at means change, which we know is BS, but this is the type of pushed revolutionaries. All right, those that's allegedly down for the revolution, yet they telling us, you know, change with the times. Right? Go ahead. What does it say? Man's goings, not it might be 24 and 20. You know what I'm talking about? Metal not with them. I'll look it up. But you got these people that want us to just really switch up and change with the times. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a new day stuff. And this is 24, 21.
My son, yeah.
I was saying, yeah, I just see
Fear
that.
thou the Lord.
Come on, bring that up.
This is Proverbs 24 and 21. Fear thou the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change.
Now we know the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Actual wisdom is a little bit later, because I have that within my lesson and topic I want to go into, but it says, fear the Lord and the king, right? With them that are given to change. So, and we have to have an established doctrine, all right, which literally is about the love of our brethren and the love for the Most High God. So with that, I try to be fair. We do a comparative study. We look at both sides of the situation, and a lot of people that come to mind, you know, Pan-Africanists, right? Down with the black struggle. And it's a coincidence that we're doing this live stream tonight during a time. What's a Pan-Africanist holiday that's being going on right now? Kwanzaa, right? Started. I seen a lot of people on my timeline on Facebook and on Snapchat, you know, following the days of Kwanzaa. Ironic, based off of the day that we're on right now, it's crazy, right? But if anybody wants to follow Kwanzaa, you got to understand that all of the principles of Kwanzaa correlates with the scriptures. But again, when we do a comparative study to two different doctrines, we see who's out here doing the most for our people and who's actually out here creating this change in a good way to take them out of the way of destruction, out of the captive mind, and bring it into the liberated, God-like mind, the way that the Most High God created him to be. I need somebody to, matter of fact,
I got the outro. Whenever you want, I did get it.
You got that? Nah, don't bring that out yet, because that's gonna be cold. The first day of Kwanzaa is Umoja, which is for unity, right? I'll show you in the scriptures how all of the things that they try to bring out is coming from the Bible, right? Give me Mark 3 and 24. And I'm gonna read what is said for the definition of Umoja to be, right? It says to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Like, we can literally go in on each day and what it means represents. We can go all throughout the Bible. I just want to just show how the Bible is teaching us the same principles, and that the dude in the 70s didn't need to create this whole holiday around it. He could have literally just started the movement or joined the movement. Original ISUPK school established in 1969, Harlem, New York. And he could have went out and preached his truth and furthered the movement, his own agenda and movement and doctrine of Kwanzaa. Go ahead.
24.
Go ahead. Bring it up.
And if a kingdom be divided against itself and not stand.
So the Lord has already shown us the principle thousands of years ago that a nation divided cannot stand, encouraging the unity of our people. All right. If you got this one person saying that the Bible is not true and it's not this, it's not that, and you got one that's saying it is, our oppression will always be divided. We'll never be able to stand up as a people as a people. So therefore we need unity, clearly, right? The second one is, right, which is self-determination. Get Deuteronomy 30:1, or start at 1. And they say to define, this is the definition, to define ourselves, right? And we start doing like Adam and Eve did, going back into the garden. We fig trees and certain leaves to cover ourselves with things that's not us, further into a further destruction, into a further captivity. We need to return original way, not going further into the way of destruction. Start that at Deuteronomy 30, start at 1.
It's Deuteronomy 30:1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee.
What are these things? Go ahead.
The blessings,
right? Listen and obey the words of the Most High God. When the blessings come upon us, go ahead.
And the curse.
And the curses. We always, if you understand, if you're familiar with the Hebrew Israelites, we go into the curses, Deuteronomy 28. That is one of the many ways that we solidify and identify who we are as a people, being a Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indian, as the nation of Israel, the various 12 tribes. We go into these curses. So we understand that the curses are going to be upon us for signs and wonders so that we can understand and know who we are. Okay, this is important. So this is how we define ourselves. Excuse me. This is how we define ourselves. Of course it'll. This is how we define and we name ourselves, right? Then we go to the book of Genesis, the 49th chapter, which again, one of the many ways that we can identify and define ourselves. Called Negro, American Negro, right? I'm from the tribe of Judah. All right. We have the chief priest, super Levite. I got a Levite to the left of me right here. All right, the officer Yash. Tribe of Levite being a Haitian man. All right. We got a brother so-called Mexican, two so-called Mexicans in the house tonight. All right, from the tribe of Issachar. We got a so-called Native American Indian or Native Indian. Okay, tribe of Gad. We got Benjamites in here. We got a Benjamite in here. All right, so-called Bahamian. We got the Benjamite brother in here tonight. The house is Judah. More importantly, and you said what? More importantly, Judah. Of course, right. We can never leave that out and not besides that point that it's always about Judah. But you know what I'm saying? So this is how we identify and we define ourselves in the scripture. So when the blessing and the curses come upon us, what's gonna happen?
Which I have said before thee.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt call them to mind.
We're going to do what?
Call them to mind.
This is how we define ourselves. When the blessing and the curses come, which one of the curses was that we were going to be in the land of our enemies, sold unto them for bondmen and bondwomen, right? When that happens to us, we're going to call to mind the things that's happening to us. And we're going to read about these things in the scriptures, be able to identify and define ourselves. Go ahead.
Among all the nations, whether the Most High thy power has driven thee.
So amongst all these nations that we were driven to as a result of the curse, as a result of our disobedience, this is how we were going to be able to define and to name ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're going to come up with something new. It means that we're going to do things that pertain, we're going to follow after our own way that pertains to us, given it to us by the Most High God. All right? Mashar. Keep going up.
Verse 2. And shall return unto the Lord thy God.
And we're going to do what?
Return unto the Lord thy God.
So this is when we start to, we're going to turn back. We're going to shake off the name of a Negro, all right, a Bahamian, a Jamaican, a Haitian. We're going to shake those things off and we're going to start to name ourselves. And it trips me out too, because all of these principles you can find amongst us as a people in general. It's up to those who have the understanding to then make that connection with the scriptures. Go out here, dude. This is what we do when we bid to the marriage. You see what I'm saying? It was a dude from the military yesterday. He was a Judite, right? Judite came up to us. He said he's 50-50 on the scriptures, right? Oh man, they wasn't able, we wasn't able to read, but was the Bible. which was a asinine statement anyway, because how was we not able to read, but then they're giving us the Bible? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? If we was caught with one letter in our in our possession, you know what I'm saying? They cutting the limb off or killing you, in total. So naturally, as a people, this is what the scripture says: the Spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. It's not a far-fetched concept. Bring the correlation and to connect your worldly principles and understanding and the things that you go through, as an individual amongst the nation or a part of the nation, and say, listen, this is your history book. This is what you're going through on a day-to-day basis, and this is you as a people. So the third one is ujima, which is collective work, responsibility, right? Give me Leviticus 5:1, and you get Ezra 4, start from the top, right? So ujima says to build and maintain our community together, brothers and sisters problems, our problems, and to solve them together.
Leviticus 5:1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice,
it says if a soul sin, all right, and you hear the voice of a soul swearing, go ahead. And there's a witness to this, right? Meaning you see your brother doing wrong. You see your brother either being harmed or you see your brother doing wrong. Get that with Moses. And when the Egyptians was on his brother. Go ahead.
Whether he has seen or known of it,
whether the witness, whether he have seen it or he was made aware of it, read.
Utter it.
If he does not utter it, if he does not recognize and see that that's a problem, even though he wasn't involved in it, if you are made known of it, now you involved. There's no way for you to say, hey, that's their problem. That's what they do. Hey, my name Bennett and I ain't in it. This is what this is the saying our people, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. That's what they got going over there. That's how the no snitching thing has evolved to. Where it was supposed to be something where we handle our issues amongst ourselves and not turn to the white man for it. Now you damn near label snitch, and then you go and let your people know about it. You can't even let your own people know about it. Either out of fear or some principle that's only going to further, again, your destruction. You got that?
God.
Brother, bring it up.
God.
To build and maintain our community together and make our brother and our sister problems our problems, and to solve them together. So when you are made if you're a witness of something, and if you've seen it or you hear of it, what to do? Go ahead.
It says if you do not utter it,
if you don't say anything about it, go ahead.
Then he shall bear his iniquity.
Then you are now found guilty of it. You see something wrong done amongst your people in your community, you're supposed to speak on it so that you can do what? You can find a solution or solve the problem. Sometimes solving a problem is getting that wickedness out of Israel. Hey, blood has to be shed.
God.
Sometimes a sharp rebuke has to come down. Have to be a public example.
Right.
These are how you solve problems amongst yourself. And our people, and we're seeing this in the scriptures, in the Bible, but our people will rather just say, nah, I'm gonna follow Kwanzaa. And I'm gonna show you why people would rather follow Kwanzaa than to rather follow the scriptures. You got that? Bring it up.
Book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 11.
Go ahead.
As in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And
Moses, who was living lavishly, he was living amongst the elites of Egypt. To go, my people. You know what I'm saying? He went on a pilgrimage back to the motherland, so to speak. Okay. Jake nowadays can understand this. He went and he said, man, I want to go hood. Right? Go ahead.
Their burdens.
And he looked on their burdens. It's no secret, man. The Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, man, are burdened continuously. Right? Go ahead.
An Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
And he just so happened to come up and seen one of the Egyptians rise up against his brother. The Egyptian man that he lived amongst rose up against his brother that he didn't even have to go this or to even see or even to be amongst him. He didn't have to, but he chose to when he saw something. Go ahead. What did he do?
And when he went out, Salah, verse 12, and he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid. And
when he looked and he saw that the coast was clear, Egyptian man. All right. And then he hit him. All right. That means he stood. You know why? Because he felt the pain. He felt the pain that his people was going through. So when he seen something that was wrong, that was done, he took action. He didn't go back to Egypt and start saying, man, it's messed up, man, it's foul. He took action.
I think that's the point.
That willing to suffer.
Hebrews 11, 24, 25.
Shouts out to the deacon. Hebrews 11, 24 and 25. Bring that out.
Book of Hebrews chapter 11, verse 24. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
By what?
By faith.
By faith. By faith in who? By faith in the Most High God, creator of heaven and earth, the Abanawa Yahweh. Okay? Go ahead.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction.
Choosing rather to what?
Suffer affliction.
Suffer affliction. With who?
With the people.
With the people. So he's choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people. Meaning what? He made his brother and his sister's problems his own problems. Teaching our people in Ujima, right? That all of our people was following, what a lot of our people was following, but he's passed, it's coming up on the 6th day, Tuesday, I believe, come up on the 6th day, and this what they following. But they not making their problems or our problems each other's. We're not taking on that burden. Hey, the Black Hebrew Israelites. All right, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men, women and children, really, that is in this truth, but mainly the men that go out and put themselves on the front line to preach the gospel, to preach the truth of the scriptures, to stand boldly in the face of their oppressors, to prophesy the downfall of the wicked kingdom that took them, enslaved them, raped, robbed, and murdered them, stole their identity, and do all of these things, to condemn it.
God.
All of the people that's following out celebrating Christmas. Listen, Christmas, years, they out celebrating all of these things, turned up, getting drunk and high right now. Finish that about Moses.
Khan. Called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
That's right.
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the power, the pleasures of sin for a season.
Pleasures of sin for a season. He chose rather to suffer, to take on the affliction that his people was going through. That's where the division. I don't have to suffer any of those things. I got a good job, or my parents had a good job. We ain't never had to be in the ghetto. We never had to suffer none of those things. I'm staying away from that. Simone's, all of your damn Stacey Dashes, all of them. These are the people that would rather keep the division, give you some sort of false understanding or false belief that they want to, unite everyone, which is we need to unite our own people before we can start thinking about trying to unite with anybody else.
Also, too, remember, it's like I said, by faith, because a lot of them will make you think that if you don't get down with Esau's program or get down with them, you won't be able to make it work.
You won't, yeah, exactly. And like the brother just said, Moses did this by pure faith in the Most High. And this is the same faith that our people, you Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians, need to have in order to actually get anywhere. Any of that prosperity is what? Having the fear for the Most High, which is the beginning of wisdom. And what's that wisdom? The law, statutes, and commandments. And we're going to get into it because it's more. Right? Get that in Ezra.
Come on.
because it says we just pretty much touch on the on a part where it says make our brothers and our sisters problems our problems, and then to solve them together was Leviticus 5:1. But it says to build and maintain our community together. Let's address that. Ezra 4, start at the top.
Con, Book of Ezra, chapter 4, from the top.
Go ahead.
Now when the adversaries of Judah,
The adversaries, right? Those that was contrary liberation and to the freedom and to the pedestal, to the greatness and to the rulership of the blacks, Hispanics, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. To that, you had a question, huh? I didn't see you just raise your hand. Still out. I thought I seen you. Okay. Those that was contrary to that, right? Go ahead.
children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Yahweh, the power of Israel.
Ain't it cold that it names them the children of the captivity? Contrary to our liberation, they identify the children of the captivity are building the temple unto their God. Oh, we got to go say something. Go ahead.
Then they came to Zerubbabel and the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you.
They said, let us come and build with you. They tried to come in and keep that division amongst us, because as long as a damn heathen been amongst us, there's been division in Israel. So they said they're finna go and do something on their own. We got to keep this division amongst them. Let's go in and get down with them, be with them, and try to build with them the same way that the damn Spaniard Americans with the Hispanic Indians. Go ahead.
Let us build with you, for we seek your power as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Ashadon, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them,
the chief of Israel,
ye have nothing to do with us.
it says ye have nothing to do with us on our own. This is what they're trying to teach us in Kwanzaa, but we can see examples of these things happening in the scriptures. It's not just a principle. This is an actual historical occurrence and a historical event where this same principle has been tried, tested, and proved. Go ahead.
Ye have nothing to do with us to build a house unto our power.
You have nothing to do with us to build a house unto our power, and invoking that separation, because we're a holy people unto the Most High God, separate and severed. Read.
But we ourselves together.
But we what?
Together.
We ourselves together will do what?
We'll build unto Yahweh.
We'll what?
We'll build unto,
we'll build unto who?
Unto Yahweh.
Go ahead.
Power of Israel.
So to build and maintain our community together, we see it right here in the book of Ezra, the 4th chapter. We together ourselves will build unto the Most High God Yahweh. Go ahead, finish.
As King Cyrus and the king of Persia have commanded us.
That's right. So we together ourselves will build. You have nothing to do with us. You, meaning anybody outside of the Black, Hispanic, Native Indians, have nothing to do with us. The next one is Ujama, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Right? Give me Leviticus 25 and 34. Start at 34. Sick, man. Like I said, like everybody, oh, Kwanzaa's here, man. You know, Black Power. You know, Hotep. You know, I was watching a clip. He said, "Hey, Hotep, Shalom, what up? Hey, what up?" He gave a shout out to all of the different sects and denominations, and our people want to get down with this Kwanzaa. But all of this is found right here in the scriptures. If you get down with Islam, you still have to come back to these scriptures. Go ahead.
The book of Leviticus 25 and 34. Start at 34.
Start at 34.
But the field of the suburbs of their cities.
That's Leviticus 25, right?
25. 34.
Don't worry about it. Right here. Slot. Start at 34. I mean 35. 35. My bad.
This is Leviticus 25 and 35.
Okay.
And if thy brother be waxen poor,
So dealing with economics, right? Where it says, build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. All right. Building together and maintaining businesses, right? For economic purposes and gain. Waxing poor, go ahead.
it says, and fallen in decay with thee,
Go ahead.
then thou shalt relieve him.
Go ahead.
Yeah, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
So you're supposed to look out for one another. Waxing poor, you're supposed to relieve him and have him come and stay with you. All right. So that he can be able to, you know, pull himself together and give him some assistance. Go ahead.
Usury of him.
You don't take usury of your own. Now, let's say that this was a heathen, someone who was not of your brethren, of the nation of Israel. You could take usury of them. You could charge them. You can charge them up the yin yang for them having to come stay in your town, stay in your dwelling places or one of your many properties. If you got property, right? You're supposed to go in and take usury of them, but of your brother, you don't take usury of them. Go ahead.
Or increase.
Or any increase. Go ahead.
But fear thy power, that thy brother may live with thee.
You're supposed to allow your brother to live with you. Keep going.
Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury.
Don't give him money upon usury, nor what?
Nor lend him thy victuals for increase.
Nor lend unto him for an increase. This is what you do to the heathen. This is what the heathen do to us. And they'll lend unto their own. No interest down.
Right.
What is that? You don't even really need. Sometimes you don't even need collateral. They won't even use charge collateral or take collateral from their own. Right. But let somebody from the outside nation come in. They're charging them crazy amounts of interest. All right. These are the things that we see right here in the scriptures. This is how we're gaining and building our economics. Go ahead. This is how the so-called white man has gained and built his economics. Go ahead.
It says, I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan and to be your God.
Keep going.
And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor,
Go ahead.
And be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bond servant.
So when we go into Leviticus 25 and what we're about to read, it's showing you the difference between the way that you deal with your own people versus how you deal with somebody else. All right. When you look at that on an economic level, again, just dealing with lending money out and lending a helping hand, you don't treat your own, all right, to make a profit or a buck off of them. You do that to others. Okay. And if you are trying to make a profit off of your own people, that's when it's an issue. And that's when the division comes in. That's when the wickedness is now, the wicked spirit is then being spread amongst Israel. And that's where the problem comes in. It is the people. One person gonna have an issue and it's just gonna spawn into all types of wickedness. So we have to be able to maintain and treat each other with the utmost respect, and also see the economic influence with dealing with each other on an economic level, buying from each other, supporting each other's business. And if for whatever reason you get to a level where you can help somebody out, you do it without looking for the increase, because you've already built your business and then you can put them on. All right. That's where the usury comes in, or to not commit usury against your brother comes in. Go ahead.
Hired servant.
Don't treat him as a bond servant, but as a hired servant, right? Giving him work. Go ahead.
And as a sojourner, he shall be with thee, and shall serve thee until the year of Jubilee.
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 The year of Jubilee, where he now has the opportunity to leave and then go do for himself. Whatever it is that he's learned from you, whatever knowledge that he's gained from you. Dang. All right. I didn't know that. Okay. They just threw me off. But again, so it says the year of Jubilee, where now whatever he's learned from whatever he's taken from being a hired servant unto you, he can now go and fend for himself when he leaves. Go ahead.
It says, and then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return.
Then he gets to go back into, whatever it is that he has. Keep reading.
For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
They shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear thy God.
Keep going.
Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen.
It says, thy bondmen and thy bondwomen, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen. Go ahead.
That are round about you, of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids.
Those are the ones that you can go and take out and just work rigorously into the ground, right? Go ahead. And profit, listen, it may have big profit margins off of the heathen. You could just go and capitalize, as much as the Lord will see fit for you off of the heathen that are round about you, not your own brethren. Go ahead.
But moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy.
Go ahead.
And of their families that are with you, which they beget in your land, and they shall be your possession.
Go ahead.
And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you.
These people are going to be an inheritance for us, and they're going to be passed down unto our children like a trust fund. All right, go ahead.
It says, they shall be your bondmen forever.
Forever, go ahead.
But over your brethren.
But over your brethren, read.
The children of Israel, ye shall not rule one over another with rigor.
You don't do that to the nation of Israel. Okay, that's how we are cooperatively building ourselves economically.
Right.
All right, not committing usury against one another, not treating each other like bondmaids. Okay, we're treating them like hired servants. We're giving them an opportunity to be able to build for themselves. Okay, the same way when you see Esau coming and take over a community, he starts to hire his own. All right, he starts to give them economic opportunity and gain from giving them jobs, right? So the next one we're going to say is Nia, which is purpose. Now we understand our purpose is for the liberation, for the exaltation of the Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians to rule over the entire planet Earth, over every other nation, all right, and be the gods and the kings of the earth the way we were created.
That's right.
That's the ultimate purpose, right? When you go into the definition, it says to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. What's the traditional greatness of the nation of Israel? To be the most wise and understanding people on the planet Earth. Get that in Deuteronomy 4. That's the traditional greatness of the nation of Israel. Right?
It's Deuteronomy 4:4. But ye that cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you this day.
Start at 6.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
Keep therefore, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, and do them. Do the laws, do the statutes, do the commandments, and most importantly, do what? The judgments. Because everything, even though we can show all of these things in Kwanzaa, and we can see them in the scripture, people say, well, what's wrong with doing Kwanzaa if everything that they're talking about is in the script? Where are the judgments? Where are the things that if you don't uphold these things? Go ahead.
It says, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
That's our traditional greatness. Our wisdom and our understanding in the sight of all nations, which is going to do what?
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation.
Surely this what?
This great nation.
This what?
Great nation.
Traditional greatness. We was going to be looked at as a great nation. Go ahead.
Is a wise
and what?
And understanding people.
Go ahead. Keep reading.
For what nation is there so great?
What nation is so great? Than a black man, than a Hispanic man, than a Native Indian man.
That's right.
Are you? What nation is there so great?
Right.
Our enemies, our adversaries that want to create the division and want to come build with us, they capitalizing off of all of our greatness. Go ahead.
They want to be like us.
They want to be like us. They'll come up with an idea and say, well, I'm going to put it on an Israelite and make all of my money. Go ahead.
Who hath God so nigh unto them?
Who's so near unto, what nation is so near unto God that what?
As the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for.
The Most High God is in all things that we call upon him for. But he's been removed from us because we choose to forsake him. We choose to go after our own way. We choose to create our own holiday rather than to just follow the original manuscript that was given to us to be great in the first place. It doesn't make any damn sense. Go ahead. Matter of fact, that's it on that. That was 8.
That was 7.
Read verse 8.
So like verse 8. And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day?
Who has statutes and judgments as righteous as all of this law had delivered unto us going back when we were delivered out of the land of Egypt? Nobody has law, statutes, and commandments so righteous as these. So it trips me out when everybody tries to say, we stole this from this, we stole. Listen, law, give me the statute, and then give me the judgment. I have yet to find or to hear about judgments in Kemet or the judgments of Ma'at. Our judgment for homosexuality in the nation of Israel is to put that goddamn demon to death. Listen, they're promoting homosexuality in Kemet, all right? Was it self pleasures, all right, and autofellatio, okay? This is the type of stuff we see here. We see pedophilia, we see incest, we see homosexuality, and that's all with one. That's all with one incident. Man dealing with his son. That's homosexuality. That's incest. Okay, come on, this is sick. And it's pedophilia. Read. That was it on 8?
God.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is Nia, right? Which was yesterday. It said, no, that was what we were just on. We just did Nia, right? The next one is Kumba or Kumba, which is supposed to be creativity. All right. I believe that's the day we're in right now. Oh, this is the day that we're going into. I believe it says, which is supposed to be for creativity, right? And the definition of it says to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited. So all of the people that believe in Kwanzaa that's out celebrating New Year's right now is not doing all that they can, and they're not always doing all that they can to make their community more and more beautiful. Who's doing that? The so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Indians that you see on the corner preaching in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai week in and week out, and have been doing that going all the way back, many, many decades. I don't even want to put a time on it. Many, many decades that have been doing all that they can to bring this nation out of the dirt, out from the dust, and to put them back in the rulership and on thrones, right? So give me 10 minutes. Con, I got you. Give me Romans 12. You give me Romans 12, 1 and 3, and you give me Isaiah 1, 16 and 17.
Isaiah 1, 17.
Isaiah 1, start 16.
God.
16 and 17. Bring that out. Romans 12.
It's Romans 12 and 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren,
Go ahead.
by the mercies of God,
Go ahead.
that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
The people that's following Kwanzaa are not sacrificing their bodies out here for their people. Not at all. A principle that we stand by here, according to the scriptures given to us about our Mashiach Yahweh Shai, is that greater love have no man than to lay his life down for his brother. These people are not doing that. They'll do some things here and there, but then every single free piece of time, and even taken away from priorities or obligations that they have, to the cause of waking their people up, so that this nation that have oppressed us and enslaved us for so long to come down, raise us up. Nobody's doing that that's following Kwanzaa. They're out celebrating I was gonna say Thanksgiving. They are celebrating New Year's. They were celebrating Thanksgiving. They celebrated Christmas. They did all of the things that support and further encourage the oppression of our people. What you got out? Bring it out.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 15.
That's right.
Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death.
Our people have made a covenant with death, right?
And with hell are we at agreement.
So they would love to keep following these different things rather than sacrifice them, the little bit of fun that they're gonna have right now, or the false understanding of what fun is, to have one night where you could just drink and be irresponsible, but you have to go right back to the plantation tomorrow. Right? Go ahead.
When the overflowing scourge shall pass through.
They don't realize that they are literally spitting in the Most High's face and that there's a destruction coming to this place. So the time that you're wasting going out to drink and party and have fun and let your gun off, you could have been putting that into raising up this nation, so that when the Lord comes back, he could look at you as one of the people that was fighting, sacrificing your body, and presenting yourself a living sacrifice to resurrect the nation. You're not doing none of that stuff. Go ahead.
It shall not come unto us.
They don't think that the destruction is going to come unto them. But guess what? In Matthew 7, it says, hey, and not everyone that calling me Lord, Lord. The Lord's going to look at you and say, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. You're hypocrites. Go ahead.
We have made lies our refuge.
They have taken security in lies, in Kwanzaa. You know what? Yeah, Kwanzaa is a great concept, man. You know, I think we're gonna start doing that now on top of Christmas. They're not gonna eliminate Christmas. We're gonna start doing that on top of Christmas. So as we're gonna open the presents on Christmas Day, we're gonna burn another candle as well. Doesn't make any damn sense. Go ahead.
And under falsehood have we hid ourselves.
And now you're hiding yourself under something that you think is really, all of these principles, they're not bad, but if you're not doing them in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, it means nothing, because you're not doing it under the proper faith, and you're not coming in the proper spirit. You coming in a self-willed spirit that disrespects the laws and order that the Most High said. Finish that in the Romans.
God, it says, for one, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
You present your bodies a living sacrifice. You sacrifice everything that you can, and then some, right? The scriptures say, man, the fact that you realize when you wake up to this truth, when you realize that you've been wicked for so damn long, and now that you come to find the Lord, it says, seek the Lord 10 times harder. Seek the Lord 10 times harder. This is things that you are finding here in the Holy Scrolls. Nobody is out here trying to seek liberation outside. If you want to separate yourself from the Bible and separate yourself from God, are you out here seeking liberation 10 times harder? You're not. You're not. You're doing the bare minimum just so that you can go on Instagram, you can go on Snapchat and Facebook and say, hey, you know, I was a part of the struggle. You go tell your kid, you know, oh, I marched. I was watching, what was that? The Carmichael show the other day. Where somebody that got shot and they were doing a protest, and the mom was like, yeah, I remember I marched one time and it was so powerful. I marched with the Panthers. But you sitting around in your suburban home with your feet kicked up while we still going through the same struggle that they were marching for back in the 60s and 70s, and even before that. When you march with the Panthers, we still going through the same thing. You quit. The struggle didn't. The oppression and the tribulation didn't quit. Go ahead.
Holy.
Present yourself a living sacrifice, holy, meaning to separate yourself. If you're going to separate yourself, you don't need to be out partaking in the wicked of the world. Go ahead.
Acceptable unto God.
Come on, man. You think the Most High is going to think what you're doing acceptable? They took away the way that you calculate, you know, your days of the week, your years and your months, and how you operate and how you're supposed to celebrate your holy Sabbaths, how you're supposed to calculate for your feast days, your holy feast days, the mandatory feast days that the Lord commanded us to keep forevermore. They destroyed all of that. So why are you celebrating when they told you the New Year's coming in? Make no damn sense. Go ahead.
Which is your reasonable service.
It's a reasonable service for the Most High. Our people that try to separate themselves from the Most High, from these scriptures, do not put forth reasonable service. Go ahead. Keep reading.
And be not conformed to this world.
Be not conformed to this world. Read.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. How do you renew your mind? To hell with the so-called white man and anything that he's ever given you, and come back unto your own people. Right. Love your own people. All right. And follow the ways of the Most High God, Yahweh. All right. In the name of his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. That's right. Most important.
So like,
get that in, you got that in Isaiah?
Yeah, kind of.
What was you gonna say?
I was just gonna say it almost seems like, you know, you got an instruction manual. You got all the instructions.
Got everything.
You know what I mean? Got everything. You're gonna build. You got a new baby. You're gonna build it. What's it called? A bassinet.
The bassinet or the crib.
You know what I mean? And you just want to wing. You just want to look. I don't need these instructions. I did it before this kid number 2. Then you build it, and now you know the bassinet is it's a little crooked. It ain't leveled. Yeah. And like, but you're supposed to put your baby in there and trust that.
Trust in it. That's a powerful point that the brother made. And it's funny because I almost did it the other day with something I had to build for my son. I literally almost did it. As I started to put this stuff together, I said, let me go back and look at the instructions. Go ahead.
God. Book of Isaiah, chapter 1, start 16. You want 16 or 17?
Start 16 and 17. Go ahead.
God. Verse 16. Wash you, make you clean.
Wash you and make you clean. And I mean, if we got time later on, man, I'm gonna try to hop back on and get into, you know, I got another lesson, you know, going into, you know, cleaning yourselves out. This brother touched on it about being a Jew inwardly and not just one outwardly. So make yourselves clean from the inside. It was a parable that Yahweh Shai spoke to the Pharisees, where it was like, you know, it's clean, but the inside is filthy like a sepulcher. All right. On the outside, it looks like it's just amazing. It's got all of this, you know, craft work, and it looks great. But on the inside, it's full of nothing but rotten, filthy, dead bones. It's wicked and nasty. Go ahead.
Put away the evil of your doings.
Put away the evil of your doings. Read.
From before mine eyes.
Go ahead.
Cease to do evil.
Cease to do the evil things that the so-called white man and his whole society put forth and deems as right. It's okay and something that should be done. Separate yourselves from that and wash away that wickedness from you. Go ahead.
Come on. Learn to do well.
Learn to do well and do what?
Seek judgment.
And to seek judgment. When you take on the problems of your people and you make it your own problems, you want judgment for that. Because all of the things that haven't happened to you, it has happened to your own people, and it could have happened to you easily. Right. And it could still happen to you for it. So when we seek the judgment of the so-called white man, it's death, destruction, and enslavement for a period of time till they're wiped off of the planet Earth. That's what we're looking for. Go ahead.
Come on. Relieve the oppressed.
Relieve the oppressed. That's what we out here for. The people that celebrate Kwanzaa are not doing that because they're out getting drunk and high right now. Go ahead.
Judge the fatherless.
Judge the fatherless. Read.
Plead for the widow.
Plead for the widow, man. That's community right there. Left behind, no child left behind. You thought Bush brought that in? Listen, man, we've been doing that for thousands of years. No child left behind. Plead for the widow. For the fatherless. That's what we are here to do. Give Matthew 19 and 19. You give me Hebrews 13 and 7. And then last one is Imani, which is faith, right? Which is for faith. And it says, with all our hearts and our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. That's what they want us to believe in. So get these two, and I'm gonna bring in the last one for the sake of time. Go ahead.
Matthew 19 and 19. Honor thy father.
Honor thy father and what?
And thy mother.
It says with all our heart. We got to believe in these things. So we got to honor our father and our mother, because guess what? If we was in our right mind, we would be learning the law, statutes, commandments, statutes, and judgments from them, as commanded to us in the book of Deuteronomy and then before that. All right. When Moses gave it to the nation of Israel, it was to teach us, for us to do them, and for us to teach our children unto everlasting. The same way we was going to pass down these heathens as a possession, all right, like a trust fund, we was going to pass down that wisdom as well. Keep reading.
And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
And then, of course, that's following the law, statutes, and commandments. So, of course, honor thy mother and thy father is within the law, statutes, and commandments. Loving thy brother as thyself is briefly comprehended within the 613.
That's right.
Give me that Hebrews 13 and 7.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 13.
13, 17. Slot.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 13. Obey them that have the rule over you.
So we got to have faith in them that have rule over. That's all the leaders. That's our teachers.
And submit yourselves for your souls.
Why do we have, how are we going to have all faith in them? Because they watch for our souls. These are the reason that they are above us, that they are our leaders, that they are the ones that have rule over us. They're in a position where they are able to lead and to guide us in the way of righteousness and to steer us away from the path of destruction. Go ahead.
Right. As they that must give account.
They must give account. Go ahead.
That they may do it.
They do it with joy. And this is why we also have to trust in them, because they're doing this with joy. They're taking the time and presenting themselves a living sacrifice and presenting their reasonable service to watch over us, because it's hard, especially for brothers that's just coming in. When you're dealing with a stiff neck and a hard-hearted, a hard-headed as Jake. Go ahead.
And not with grief.
Not with grief, read.
Unprofitable for you.
It's unprofitable. So we need to believe with all our hearts and our people first, our teachers and our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. What's the righteousness and the victory of our struggle? It can never get old. The book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, and the 1st verse. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. Who is the strangers? The possession that we just read about in the book of Leviticus, the 25th chapter, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. We're going to stop the oppression. All right. And we are looking and waiting for our righteous victory over the struggle that we had, over our oppressors. Verse 3, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Amen. That's what we are here doing. Anybody that's trying to leave or separate themselves from the scriptures, following Kwanzaa rather than following the law, statutes, and commandments, they don't want to be out here. They're not here preaching or speaking on the revolution. They out celebrating the furtherance and the continuance of a wicked nation that's only been about their oppression, only been about their slavery, and only been about for the benefit of the white people and the white man over the Black and Hispanic Native Indians, man. So with that, I say shalom to all the people and all the sisters and brothers out there. Hey, keep the fight, wash yourselves, clean yourselves, hey, and do it with love and not with grief, man. Shalom.
Determined to carry the fight to Jerusalem. The SICARRI. To the SICARRI. Anyone who wasn't fighting the Romans was a collaborator and worthy of death.
Many were slain every day, and the fear men were in was worse than the calamity itself.
SICARRI fighters are motivated by a deeply held belief in God, freedom, and the independence of their country. They're famed for their fanaticism and their vicious dagger. The SICARRI are one of the only guerrilla groups never to bow to the might of the Roman Empire.
The SICARRI were guerrillas.
Guerrilla warfare.
It was a perfect camp for a guerrilla unit.
But for the SICARRI, surrender is not an option.
Fanatical groups like the SICARRI never surrender. They never surrender because what their aims are not negotiable.